जयधारी माँ। हर जीवन अनेक प्रकार के रंगों से भरा हुआ है। बातचीत वही रंग बांटेगी आप सबके साथ। हम सब एक हैं, बस सोच अलग अलग है। बटोर लीजिए उन रंगों को, जो भी आप चाहें इस बातचीत से, और ढाल लीजिए अपनी सोच में। यही मकसद है इस बातचीत का। आइए मिलते हैं अपने प्यारे से मेहमान से। अतिथि देवो भव।
जयधारी माँ।
जयधारी माँ बेटी।
हमारी ऑडियंसेस का स्वागत है। आइए जुड़िए फॉर अनदर सेशन ऑफ आवर बातचीत। आप सबको छठ पूजा की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। आज के जो हमारे अतिथि हैं, उन्होंने एक भरपूर जिंदगी जी है। ईश्वर की कृपा से, माँ की कृपा से, she's led a complete life, but she's given her all to lead that complete life. With grace, she has created that complete, wholesome life. Let's get to know her, her journey of love, her journey of life, her journey of family, her journey of various roles and aspects of life, and her journey of duty. आइए उनको मिलते हैं, पर पहले एक वीडियो देखते हैं उनके ऊपर। आइए।
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Jayadhari ma'am, very welcome.
Jayadhari ma'am, and thank you for that video, which was so creative. I mean, I was really touched. Thank you so much.
That's your journey, ma'am. That's so much of hard work. That's so much of hard work. That's all your journey. That's your sweat, tears, and blood. It's got everything in it. Gee, Mummy, do we start? Do we? Can
Yeah,
we?
please do.
Yeah.
What a great journey. What an
Yes.
impressive journey.
Gee,
What a wonderful compilation. I must congratulate your team, the demonstrative learning team, which has done it.
gee, gee. Ma'am,
Very good.
picking up from that video, there's a slide when, what a moment when the medals are being put right here
But yeah,
by your life companion and
yes.
the seniors. How was it, ma'am, Lieutenant General? How was it?
It was a very moving moment. Uh, I mean, it was not something one had dreamt of nearly 37 years ago when, it was just two little stars on that shoulder. And when it went on to a three stars on the collar, I remember laughing and said, "Oh my God, it's such a short journey from shoulder three stars of a captain to pips of three stars on the collar, and it takes near 40 years."
Yeah.
But it was most touching because not only did my husband pip me, but when he'd retired 4 years earlier, he jokingly said, "Banegi to meri topi dongi," and that day I wore his cap.
And I know when you were pipping him, you
Yeah.
said, "Thank you, sir," or you saluted him.
Yes, you're right. And my daughter says, "Dad, keep that for posterity. Mom saluted you."
Perfect. That's called the discipline. Whatever be,
Yes,
whatever the relationship, seniority
yes,
is seniority.
absolutely.
Exactly.
Ma'am, you want to talk about your rigorous training? You want to talk about your days of training? Because to get here, you have to train hard.
Yeah, I mean, the initial years wasn't that this thing. It was more of just the medical training because at the Armed Forces Medical College, we don't have it very different. It's just that it's more, you have more uh, opportunities for all round development. And I was one who snatched every opportunity. I mean, having come from a total civilian background, it was like a child in a toy store where there were so many wonderful toys, and I didn't know which one, ye bhi lu ya wo bhi lu. So there was so many clubs and societies getting an opportunity to learn horse riding, paragliding. I mean, these were things I wouldn't have got in another college. So I said, this is an opportunity of a lifetime, and I must do it all. So after that, it was mainly concentrating on studies and learning the first thing of importance of time management when you want to pack in everything in that, because the day has just 24 hours. So when you want to do dramatics bhi karni hai, debate bhi karni hai, you want to join in all the fun, you want to go horse riding, you want to be in athletics, you want to play basketball, and then you have those tough exams of medical, and you'll end up failing in your first part, and comes as a rude shock. And that's when you realize that, well, if you want to have it all, you need to divide and organize yourself. And I think that's a lesson I learned very early in life in college, and that stood me till and continues to stand by me. So that was one thing. But after that, when we finish, the difference of training in AFMC is we go for a military training to Lucknow, which is our officers training academy. And with the same spirit, of now one has to, so there was marching and weapon training and drill and what have you, and got the thing for the best drill. So it was not about that, oh, I'm a doctor, why should I be. It was, wow, I'm getting a chance to do. And I still remember in those days there were no women. They were just medical corps, so we didn't have separate physical standards, and we were made to do the same battle physical efficiency test. So we have that 5 kilometer run and a rassa, and then there's a ditch. It was the same that was for men. So they told us girls ki, theek hai, aapko nahi, you need not do it. And I felt very, kind of not insulted, but a little, ki, what the hell, just because they don't, this thing, it's not that we cannot do it. So I said, main sab karungi. And I remember doing completely the rope, the horizontal, the ditch, running the full and coming in excellent. So that's when I realized that you have to prove yourself if you want to. If you want to do it, you can't let someone else decide. You're a woman, don't do it.
जी, जी. Ma'am, you spoke about AFMC. How did it feel? आप वहाँ पढ़े and then you did head AFMC. You were the dean of AFMC. How did that feel, ma'am?
I think that was a one of the most rewarding moments because जब हम कॉलेज में पढ़ते थे तब तो डीन के ऑफिस में जान you only were called up to the dean's office for some kind of you did something wrong, like I remember not reporting late or having a fine to pay and being marched up, and then suddenly you find that you're the dean and you're sitting there in that very chair, and it's fun because you understand the psyche of the students very well because you've been there, done that, so you can act your and but therefore one of the things I remember telling you on my first thing on taking over as dean, because I was the first woman to be a dean at AFMC. I told the kids, I said, sorry guys, I have two philosophies in life: work hard, party harder, which is all fine by me. I live that life, but I also feel there's no goody goodiness in two things. One is parenting, and the other is teaching. And fortunately or unfortunately, I am both to you because 100% residential. So मैंने कहा मैं आपकी टीचर भी हूँ और आपकी पेरेंट भी हूँ. तो sorry guys, if you go get off the track, there's no one worse than me. But rest of the time, I'm sure I'm going to be your best friend. So that
Wow.
was the end of it.
Wow. So
That's so
did that discipline,
beautiful.
did it have an impact? Did it change?
Yes,
Did it?
it had an impact because I was soon given the beautiful title of Rajmata, and every cartoon and skit showed me as Kabhi. It was in the role of Gabbar Singh, sometimes like Mogambo, and the student skits all had showed me doing all those these things. And I still remember once my DG said, "Ki Madhuri, next time I come, I just might see a hoarding with the Hitler's moustache on you." So,
Recall an
but then
incident. Help
the
recall an
beauty
incident.
is the beauty
Help
is
recall.
those very students, through the years there, and after that, I'm still in touch with so many of them, and it's so beautiful to have a connect with them.
Hmm. Help recall an incident where probably your strictness and disciplined habit helped straighten up somebody or straighten up some.
That's an excellent question. I won't take names, but I will tell you a specific incident. I mean, if this, goes, the girl will listen and she'll know. Uh, there was a young girl who'd been caught in the internal assessment. There was some cheating going
Oh,
on. And I had to rusticate her. I
oh.
said, 2 weeks, you're going to be, it was a very strong decision. But I said, 2 weeks, I'm going to rusticate you. It's not just that you cheated, it's about teaching everyone correct values.
Hmm.
Those few marks are not going to matter. And then something, I mean, she was very cut up. I didn't realize she had problems from her home front. She says, "Ma'am, rusticate bhi karo to mujhe ghar mat bhejna because my parents would not be able to, handle this and बहुत गदर हो जाएगा." So I had to call her aside, listen to her part of it. Then I rang up the parents and I said, "Look, it's a sad day if you have to be with me because I'm teaching something really of value to her and students, but you can't be harsh on her. You have to let her be those 2 weeks and come back to me. I'll handle the rest." So we handled it very amicably. Not only did she come back, she finished her term. A year later, she comes up and asks for a meeting with me and comes with this big box of chocolates.
Hmm.
And she says, Ki, ma'am, I have done extremely well. I've become very confident of myself. I took part in a lot of competitions, even sort of outside of college, in public speaking. And all along, I felt that there was some system and some values I picked up from you. So, this is a thank you for that. And
Oh,
I thought
wonderful.
that was something most moving for me.
Superb. That's being a tough love. That's given
Yes.
tough love, which
Yes.
parents sometimes find it difficult, where only the teacher can do. I
Yes.
guess that's probably maybe sign I would like to ask you. Maybe that's kind of a role you're playing as a vice chancellor at the moment, if I may.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, that with your experience. And that's what I'm loving about it now. What I've done is I felt that as we go up in our position in academics or in any this, we lose connect with ground reality. We lose connect with the student. We say education is student centric, but yet we do not really reach out. And it's not that we don't want to, but the system keeps making barriers. So I said, how do I change that? So I started a few things. I connected with this, the student representatives. We have them in the Senate. I called them and sat down with them. I connected with Maharashtra Association of Resident Doctors. I connected with certain other student associations and little groups. And I said, look, we have to work together. So when now we have established a connect, there's another thing I started. I call it Kulu Guru Ka Katta. It's a open online forum wherein they can, send in faculty wise because we have medicine, Ayurveda, homeopathy. So I let them send in, points which I'll get to address them. I may not reach everyone, but the message goes that there's a vice chancellor who listens to us. And if there's time, I'll give one incident how this worked. There was a last year there was a situation where, for inadvertent reasons, it was not the fault of the teacher, but in one of the medical colleges, the microbiology paper turned out for the university exam the same as the college paper for prelim exams, which is not acceptable. When the matter was brought to light to me, I said we redo this exam. So to which everyone protested and said that no, I mean, it's a huge exercise. 6,000 students over 28 centers getting a re-exam done, question papers, answer papers. It's not easy. It's good. I said it's not about that. It's about not just being fair. It's about seeing that we are fair, that the students didn't know the same paper is going to be coming, but there would be some who knew it and some who did not. So, for that reason, I have to do this exam again, and this is non negotiable. So once the message went out, the students from except that one college all said, "Ki, ma'am, we cannot have another exam because it's postponing practicals, it's having another, we have holidays." And I stood my ground. I said, okay, today you are having problems, but tomorrow someone goes to court, you'll have this dagger hanging on your head for the next whole year because someone tops from that college, another one puts in an RTI. I mean, this is unending. So my thing stands. However, I will address you all. So I went online and got all students from across all colleges who wanted to come in. And I said, tell your points. I will listen to everyone. And then I will tell you what my reason is. At the end of it, they were still, ma'am. I said, look, there are 6,000 students, only few hundred have logged in. That means the ones who do not want the exam have logged in, the others want it. Even then, I give it to you. I'll open a Google document, everyone give a yes or a no. And you won't believe it, 72% agreed to give the exam. So it was a
Excellent.
democratic decision. The students, this thing, and we went through with the exam, and the student reps came to thank me for it. Ma'am, you've done it extremely well. So I think opening and keeping a dialogue with students is important. The same thing happened when, because of COVID, the postgraduates did not want the exams in time. There were protests. the Maharashtra Association of Resident Doctors would normally, the usual way, they would have started a strike. I said, come and talk to me. You give me your reason, I'll give you my reason. At the end of it, they tried, they went, and I'm very grateful. Even the Minister of Medical Education said, if your Vice Chancellor has decided to go ahead, please go with the exams. And we had them in time, and they're all doing fine. So these are tough decisions, but when you take them instead of an autocratic way, you do it in a democratic way with conversation, it works.
Wonderful. Do you know General, you've actually used your strength as a leader, and the research is showing that women leadership excels in two things: spirit of collaboration and spirit
Yes,
of communication.
yes,
Collaboration and communication. Third is another thing which they've been saying is visibility.
yes,
I think you have the research after research is exactly proving, and you're proving this without you and I probably be knowing when we do these things of collaboration, communication, visibility, or connect. The third
yeah.
thing is connect. I think it's
Connect.
amazing. This is very unique to female leadership. I don't know why. I don't know
Yeah.
why. But this is repeatedly research is showing. And that's what you've done.
Absolutely. I think, Kiranji, I had admired you when you handled the prisoners in Delhi. And it had exactly all these attributes. And I think it comes from a basic thing. I mean, being a medical person, and I talk about it, I said a woman is naturally endowed. I mean, I'm sorry, there would be men listening to it, but we use both sides of the brain. There is a right brain and a left brain, and whereas there's logic, reasoning, science on one side, there is connect, uh, empathy, religion, your society, your reaching out, all those aspects, we combine them very seamlessly, and I think
Yes.
that is a strength.
That's what makes you outstanding.
Yes,
Excel all in all across your life. Your life has been a life of excellence, total excellence, and joyously excellence. Gifted with a
thank
very supportive life partner. So wonderful. You're truly blessed. You're really,
yes,
truly blessed, General. How
absolutely.
nice.
Ma'am,
Thank you so
you're a
much.
doctor. Ma'am, you're a doctor. You're a soldier. You're a teacher. And for
Yeah.
all three, you need a very strong but a very sensitive heart. So, from where do you get your strength? And from where do you get your sensitivity?
I think what we just discussed earlier, the sensitivity comes much more easier to a woman who instinctively has a nurturing instinct. I mean, you can do in any role, but you don't stop thinking of how your action affects the other person. I think that's what a basic sensitivity is, that when I say something, when I pass an order, quickly analyzed as to what is the impact that's going to have on the people that you made it. So that's one thing. So that comes the sensitivity. And strength, I think, comes from, one is it has to be self nurtured, but when you're supported, you get your family, friends, and colleagues, and it's with the teamwork. And once you see that working, you repeat that every time and you become stronger. When you are swimming against the tide and you find that, oh, well, I could do it, it makes you stronger for the next time you're needing to. So it grows on you.
Ji, ji. I'm talking about men in uniform and women in uniform, carrying forward the talk. Aren't we supposed to complement each other? Aren't we supposed to add to our strength? Why the
Yes,
competition? Why the
yes.
comparison? Why can't we celebrate our own uniqueness?
Yeah. See, what happens is this is uh, in the forces, I would say, whether it's the police or the military or whatever, in the uniformed services, a change comes in. It's a huge organization, and change takes longer to happen. Uh, we were from a society where women did not, were sort of not really the forefront of things and were accepted very easily. But however, things are changing. And the first was in the corporate world where they found they got the terms of inclusivity and what have you, to bring in so that they worked in harmony as a team and they complemented each other's strengths. This aspect is being realized even in the uniformed services, but it takes a little time. And therefore, with the time, things are changing. And whereas our time, we only had in the medical profession and nursing profession, today the military has opened up its doors for even permanent commission. They're permitting command. They're even taking women in the ranks, like the Assam Rifles, the Corps of Military Police. They've taken women in the ranks as well. So I am sure the women are empowered. I think it's the society which needs to be empowered and start accepting this aspect.
You've used in some of your interviews a concept called medical humanity.
Yes.
What is that? Can you explain that? That's a very interesting state.
Yes,
I think
yes.
it's a very
This,
interesting title. What is
yes,
medical humanity?
yes. I think that's another excellent question because if you see, medicine is a science, but the
Yes.
practice of medicine is an art. You today that art is dying out.
Mm.
Why is it that in the public sector doctors are beaten up, and in the private sector they're being
Mm.
dragged to court, the consumer
Wow.
court, and
Mm.
what have you? The reason is there's a lack of the art. You may have done everything correctly, but you may not have communicated.
Mm.
May have given the right medicines, but you may not have had time to put your hand on the patient's shoulder or
Mm.
reassure him or her that you're there to take care of them.
Mm.
Doctors are not gods. They can't be perfect and correct all the time. But
Yes.
neither are they intentionally, harming someone to kill them. The
Mm.
society and medical profession has lost its connect. To bring
Mm.
this back, I think you need arts coming into it. And that is
Mm.
this thing. And that's again where, in one of my talks, when I was trying to build this up, I drew a cartoon which had the brain on a horizontal, the upper part and lower part, and there was a tree growing out and the roots. And the
Mm.
tree had all the parts of logic, science, everything, but the roots had to be on our culture, on our values, on
Right.
societal norms, on religion, on empathy, on
Right.
compassion. I mean,
Right.
at one of our these things, I thought our governor Kushyari ji said something very interesting. He said, "ये सारी पैथी पैथी चलती रहती है, मेडिकल फील्ड में सिंपैथी कब आएगी?" So I think that, and therefore the subject of medical humanities is now being given importance in medical education. Bring in this aspect that if you're just to reflect on it, do you think about, like we're telling students, think about the how many kilometers he's traveled to reach you. Does he have, what is the kind of finances? There's no point writing out very high end investigations if he's already sold his farm. This
Yeah.
kind of understanding
Mm.
requires a heart and requires the art of medicine. And this
Mm.
can come in when you have clubs and societies, you let people think about it, you bring them closer to society. And I've started a project even as vice chancellor with just this in mind. It's
Wonderful.
called the Blossom Project in Nagpur.
Right.
As, in fact, this week it had taken this because of Diwali and Chhat and all that, but it'll be every week we have 220 students teams, 22 teams. We've adopted 18 villages taking inputs from the tribal commissioner of those which have more than 85% Adivasis and tribals, where health has not reached in adequate measures. So
Mm.
this is called the Blossom Project because when they go there, they are going to screen them for all the problems which we've identified the gaps. They're coming in late for breast cancer, liver diseases, oral cancer, sickle cell anemia, sexually transmitted diseases, osteoporosis, malnutrition. All ages, all genders.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
students have been sensitized to this. They go talk to the families, they collect the data, they screen them and help them come to the hospital early. And then these very colleges will be adopting all these families to help them reach out, come and for the next 5 years. I think this is, I don't think the student and the enthusiasm, because I mean, the number of WhatsApp messages I got from students, ma'am, hame bhi le lo. So you see, the youth wants to do it. We have to just find a way to get them involved, sensitize them to the needs of society, and it's going to be a changed country.
Yeah, I think this is probably coming out of your other concept you've been promoting is the art of healing.
Yes,
How do you
absolutely.
heal?
Yeah. In the same, in the art of healing again, you may give the best medicines. You know, olden days कहते थे कि भाई अच्छे डॉक्टर की दवाई आप जेब में भी रख दो, आप ठीक हो जाते हो. Because it's a known thing. There is a thing called placebo effect, which is the science that sometimes you may just give, a glucose powder or something, and कि इससे तुम ठीक, and people actually get well,
Yes.
because there is a science, and science is showing it that your psychology, your emotional these things affects your immunity, and that is how your ability to is also there. So, and the art of healing needs an integrated approach, keeping the patient again as to his requirement, understanding him. Today in a busy clinic, when even before he's walked in, agreed, because we are doctors, you can understand from his walk, his talk, kya hua hai. So you've already finished writing half the prescription and handed it over to him or her. He may have come, 100 kilometers away, and waited for a few hours to get that thing, audience with you. So he's not going to be satisfied with that. So the art of healing has to have the time, but it requires both sides. We need more people working, because an overburdened doctor who's not had lunch, society needs to understand that as well. If they are so overburdened कि 4 बजे तक खाना नहीं खाया है, और फिर भी तुम सोचते हो कि वो स्माइल करके सबको देखता रहे, वो भी नहीं हो सकता है. So we need to find solutions in this, and probably an integrated approach using our indigenous systems of medicine, and how to take a holistic approach to healing is the need that I'm stressing on at the moment.
This is wonderful. This is like a parent, mother, parent, teacher, parent role. You're playing
Yes,
exactly the teacher, parent
absolutely.
role.
I'm loving it, Kiranji.
So wonderful.
Ma'am, what's your journey been like being a mother?
Ah,
Ah, tough
that's a
question.
good one.
Sensitive area. Tough balancing. Like people would ask me कि बच्चे कैसे, मैंने कहा कौन से बच्चे, क्लास वाले बच्चे, स्कूल वाले बच्चे, घर वाले बच्चे. I mean, at the moment, I'm up to my this thing with problems, and it's been tough, not just for me, but for the children as well, because having a mom, and I'm sure Kiranji understand that, where you feel equally responsible for your duty, and your duty and devotion is kind of put to test, and there are times when children don't miss a chance to make you feel guilty. uh, I remember daughter saying कि अब बीमार पड़ना पड़ेगा ताकि घर में बैठे, things like that. They don't mean it, but it's their way of getting back. You have to toughen yourself. You have to. I mean, I remember once in one of the interviews I'd heard Kiran, you can't have it all. But I think you want to have it all. I would think you want to have it all. And
Indranil said this.
sometimes we land up being a little more harsh on ourselves, trying to pull ourselves between things. But it's worth it, because at the end of it, even if you're a little less than perfect in one thing, it makes up for the rest of it. So, and then when you see that they are, because of that, because you are not there full time to pamper them full time, they learn to find solutions. And today, life is about teaching the next generation how to find solutions, not giving solutions. And what happens, I see, as a dean, I used to see children coming from very protected environment. They've just had one child or two children, parents providing for everything, the latest phone, the latest gadget. So they land up getting quick satisfaction, they want that gratification very early. They give up very easily. But I think when I look back, I think when I see, my children or children of women they've learned to find their solutions because mom is not there to provide solutions every time. And they continue to do that in their life and continue to do well. So I think that's also part of growing up and teaching.
Ma'am, I do
But you
feel
also
if your
said China,
child.
but the general has said her army was her family. I think it's a
Yes,
very beautiful thing she said. Army was family, and it is. It is. I've
yes,
recently attended a very, very touching program of AWA, the Army Wives Welfare Association. Brilliant.
yes,
How
yes,
they bond with each other. It's the largest NGO in the world. It's one of the
yes,
largest NGOs in the world.
yes,
And the way the Army Wives Welfare Association works with each other, connects
yes,
with each other, like your daughter was taken over by your the army colleague. I think it's just
yes.
amazing. Tell us
Uh,
about this. How did the army? How did the army work as a family for you?
it was I mean, that was my family because I
Yes.
went posted in Pathankot, posted in Jodhpur, Jhansi, Namkum. I didn't have anyone near me. And every time it's not possible for parents to come running down, husband was doing his duty in his field areas. So your colleagues become your family. You participate, and that is something which I've brought in for to the university as well now, making
Very nice.
everyone feel that it's not just a 9 to 5 job, it's a way of life. And in all your difficulties, I mean, you just stand by each other. What you correctly brought out, I mean, I had the distinction of being an army officer and an army officer's wife. So
Mm.
and at times people would say, Ki, why do you bother to get into all those? I said, because that's a role which is distinct. And if my husband is commanding a unit, I mean, why should the women in his unit be denied of a senior lady who cares for them? I said, I'm going to mix my two roles. So I take leave, go down for a weekend, and I do it my way. I may not have big welfare and have some programs for them. What I do is I'd say, okay, I'm here. Every 2 hours I'll give for every squadron. जिसको जिसको कोई भी medical problem है मुझे आके मिले. And that
Oh,
was even more beautiful because they'd come and they'd use that opportunity to get a one-on-one. And I knew
mm.
किसके घर में सांस की प्रॉब्लम है, किसके घर में पानी नहीं आ रहा है, what do I need to do for the child, for special child. So it was another way of for fulfilling that role. And I think that
Oh.
is an amazing organization.
It is.
Absolutely.
So proud of it. The country is really proud of AWA, the way you all strengthen each other and support each other. I wish we had something like Police Families Welfare Association. We don't have, because
Yeah,
police is a state subject. Police being a
yeah,
state subject, it's left to states. And then
yeah.
I think it's nothing
But
compared to what you
I
have.
think it needs to be done,
Yeah.
especially because there are so many, both men and women. And instead of wives, the Navy is the first one. They've now called it not Naval Wives Welfare Association, but Naval Spouses. So
Yes.
they are, because now more
Family.
women are coming in, even the husbands need support. And
Yes.
I've been vociferous in as more women come in. For a simple reason. I mean, this is an opportunity to read. I remember I was misquoted at thing, but I said, "Why is a child care leave given only to a woman? If both are serving, it should be divided between the wife and the husband for
Good.
two reasons. It gives a message that both are equal, both are taking on the responsibility, and both have to take on the responsibility of parenting. Maybe in the first few years, the mom is more important, but as the child grows up, if the child's exam is there, padhana hai, the dad can also do it. And secondly, I said the colleagues will not look, ये तो बार बार छुट्टी लेती है. So I said
That's
for both reasons, it should be child care leave should be to both genders. So these
correct.
are some things which it'll happen in due course of time.
Maybe you could call it Army Families Welfare Association. Now
Yes.
instead of wives, call it
Yes.
families, because
Yes.
you are already having a lot of women now coming into the armed forces.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
You're right, even men need that. Men need
Yeah.
it even more.
No, and I'll again remind you. I'm reminded of one small event. How I very fondly remember Mrs. Madhulika Rawat. I was working as the deputy chief when this COVID thing came in, and I was the late General Rawat asked me to lead what I called Operation Kojit. COVID के ऊपर cooperation से जीत होगी. So that was my term. I called it Op Kojit. And there was one point where, the nurses, we were stretching our limited resources because we were with the same power. We were running these 1,000-bedded facilities, whether it was Delhi, in Ahmedabad. So our staff was pulled. So I just thought out, now this came from the other part of being a wise welfare association. And I told Mrs. Rawat, I said, kuch karna padega, and she said, I agree with you. What can we do? I said, even if in every station, the young nurses and the young doctors who are working round the clock, they are given some kind of a pep up thing when they come back from duty. आप एक message भेज दो. She said, brilliant. So immediately, Mrs. Litter, they took on in Delhi, and they worked out. The first thing, she pulled out the money and she said, "Shuru kar do yahan se." And every day when these people came out and they got out of their PPs, there was always some refreshment from the AWA, or
Yeah,
they would get messages on their this thing that you're doing a great job, and the morale went sky high.
lovely.
No one, they were ready to work without a break. They were
Yeah.
ready to work. Normally, after 2 weeks, we give a break. They said, "Ma'am, we understand. Hum karenge." So I think
Mm,
this is where it's important.
super.
जी, ma'am, this is a lot of power of the heart and power
Yeah.
of the will, human will. Where there is a will, there is a way, and this
There
is
is a
human
way.
will. But
Yeah.
let's show you your heart right now. Let's bring in your
Yes.
heart. Let's show you your heart.
Beautiful.
Sir,
Beautiful.
sir,
Beautiful.
very welcome. Very
How
welcome,
lovely.
sir.
How lovely.
Very
How
welcome, sir.
lovely.
Sir, the last quote here says that the happiness of the other is essential to your own. Your ma'am's happiness meant so much to you, and your happiness means everything to her.
God bless you.
And
Thank you so
sir,
much.
आपने उनको हमेशा बोला है लेट्स ग्रो टुगेदर.
बहुत
ये
अच्छा.
आपने बोला है लेट्स ग्रो टुगेदर. सो अ फ्यू वर्ड्स.
So, firstly, thank you for calling me over. And let me admit, this is the first time I've come on a public forum. And never as a principal. So, if I make some mistakes or, not
No,
very elegant as my wife is, please forgive me. Yeah. So, yeah, I know you asked me a query, so I'll just put it across that our problems actually started right from the time you know we got married, and we thought that things will be easier, but they only became more and more difficult. So we had to give that kind of a little bit of support to each other to say that what now, what next. So it was in one of those moments when we were facing difficulties. I said that this is going to be an ongoing process, but we will make a good effort. So let's try and grow together without getting apart. Because all the time we were posted elsewhere. She was somewhere because of her work. I was somewhere else because my portfolio was different. And we thought that let's try and make a go of it.
Beautiful.
this is such a
Beautiful. I like the
blessing.
word growing
This is such
together.
a blessing.
He
जी
won't say
मैम.
it, but I'm going to add
जी
now that
जी.
he retired, 4 years before me, and most general officers retiring do get an opportunity to apply and serve on other portfolios, and everyone would ask him and he'd say they I'm not yet decided. And I was also getting after him that you're not this thing, until one day he told me, I have taken a decision that now I am not going to take up any job. I'm going to keep supporting you, for the
Oh,
simple
nice.
reason that now we don't have to ask someone for to post us together. I can live with you without taking any applications. So it's now in our hands. uh, so to that, and I'm sure there are times where he does regret, but he stood by it.
Ma'am,
Proud.
it doesn't,
You must be a
no, it
rare couple.
doesn't, it
You're a
doesn't look,
rare couple, truly blessed
Yeah.
by the Almighty.
मैम आप ये बोलेंगे कि जो आपकी जर्नी है वो सिर्फ आपकी जर्नी नहीं है, वो सर की भी जर्नी है। ये सच है ना? ये आपकी जर्नी नहीं है सिर्फ, ये
नहीं
उनकी
नहीं,
भी
ये
जर्नी
उनकी भी
है ना?
है. Because where I was, I mean, you see, when you are going through a different, someone just acknowledging that it's tough for you makes it easier. And I didn't make it any easier for him at that time by saying, no, no, it must be so tough for you to be alone everywhere. But he always said, oh my God, it's so tough for you. You have to manage the children also, you have to manage the home. So it made easier for me, and just understanding. So then we had this tacit understanding. Just then I feel totally, because there were times I would feel I'm trapped. I would ring up and say कि मुझे लग रहा है मैं जेल में हूँ. I can't get out of this situation. ना मैं यहाँ से हिल सकती हूँ, ना बच्चों को छोड़ सकती हूँ, ना मैं क्या करूँ. So he would at times like that drop everything, come for a few days, unruffle the feathers, and say, now you can carry on.
No, but
I
again,
think
जी,
the world owes you. The world owes you. I think not that the world owes you. You could consider, now that you have time, to document how did you grow together. Because I think that's what meant the world outside is looking for this kind of guidance.
Yes.
Document this. How did
Yeah.
you grow together?
Yeah. I
What
think
did you?
that's a
What did it
very
take you for you as
good
a man to
suggestion.
grow?
Yeah, Kiranji, that's a very good suggestion. I think we should do that, especially because among the younger generation, they give up on each other so fast. Even in our country now, divorce rates are increasing, people are having problems. Uh, the fact is that life, things don't work out automatically, that you need to take turns in taking a step back. For example, like you said, when he had to go for his staff college, I mean, he told me कि बस मुझे 6 महीने अभी छोड़ दो, कुछ नहीं करना है. I don't want to be disturbed. And I remember taking my annual leave, taking our son, and pushing off and staying with my parents. कि you get these 2 months totally undisturbed, पढ़ाई करो. Or when I was doing my post graduation, he'd finished staff college and was getting a prime posting, but I'd reached a limit where बच्चे को लेके मैं MD pediatrics नहीं कर पा रही थी, and I was in my third year, and I said, I want to give up. मैं ये MD नहीं कर पाऊंगी because it's a lot of hard work, और बच्चे को घर अकेला छोड़ के नहीं कर पा रही हूँ. And my parents had to move out, they couldn't be with them. So I remember he gave an adverse career and came down, and was there with me. He says, and I said, it's going to affect your career. He said, मौके बाद में भी मिलेंगे, बट ये तुम्हारी 1 साल के लिए 3 साल की तपस्या तुम बर्बाद मत करो. You must finish your MD. So he took a step back. Then when he had to get down to doing his higher command and all those other courses, I said, no, you carry on, I'll take so I went for nephrology 5 years, 6 years later. So we took turns. If I had stuck and said, no, I want to just pursue my career, uh, then it wouldn't have probably worked. So I think it was in that thing a very important aspect where we'd sit down, talk, and say, at this juncture, if who has to take the back step. Or when I went to England for my fellowship in pediatric nephrology to Great Ormond Street, it was going to be 4 months. I said, 4 months, how are you going to manage? And he was commanding a unit. He said, कर लूंगा. You leave the children with me, but this is you've got a fellowship, one amongst the Commonwealth, you just push off. Then that's a अलग बात कि वो कहने लगे कि commanding a regiment is easier. एक बेटी बड़ी करना बहुत मुश्किल है.
In the title of your book could be Growing Together. How?
Yeah.
सर आप कुछ कहेंगे कोई याद when how did you meet and how did you propose to each other and your love, because this love is very very rare to find, and it's a blessing once you find it, and you found it with God's grace, you both found it. जी
So,
बड़ा आप कुछ कहें जी.
I just say that I was lucky to have some kind of a filmy meeting, because just as on the lighter side, I had just passed out of our academy with top honors at Dehradun. And fortunately, 2 days later, there was this uh, my cousin's wedding in Pune, for which I came running down, somehow or the other. And then during that function, I met somebody who's now sitting on my left as my wife. So marriage में हमारी पहली मुलाकात हुई, and then I think it just went from one phase to the other, and somehow it worked out.
See, he's not telling कि I was a 17-year-old and who got swept off her feet.
Oh,
और
wow.
बस खत्म हो गई कहानी.
Wow, only 17. Only
Yeah,
17.
I was in 12th.
My God. And despite that, having fallen in love, you continue to score, get medals and score the highest in your academics.
Because see, this is what support is. Then he came for his young officers course. I'm in Nagarbe and I was in AFMC, and I joined AFMC because I was impressed by an army man. I wanted to join wear the uniform, and this guy would drive down on his motorcycle and say, "If you want me to take you out for dinner, पहले library में 2 घंटे पढ़ाई करनी पड़ेगी." I mean, bully. He was a bully.
Ma'am, I truly believe he's your greatest well-wisher and your
No,
blessing.
that's
He's your
not in it.
greatest blessing. Sir, would you like to say something very special for ma'am? And then ma'am is going to say something very special for you. Something she
Super.
loves about you the most. And what you love about her the most.
Uh, I think her absolute uh, vivaciousness that she has, always cheerful, always thoughtful.
Yes.
These are the things that I don't want to lose out, and I've told her that now that we are together, I'm not going to go anywhere. You have to suffer me,
Yeah. Lovely.
right?
This is so beautiful. Ma'am, now you have to say 5 beautiful, pretty things about sir. 5.
5. Okay.
Fine.
One is I'll repeat what my children say about us. They said, Mom, 2 of you would have been bit too much, and 2 of Dad would have been too boring. So you all are just right. Second, I admire his always being cool, calm, collected. And he tells me that. मतलब मेरे को बहुत दीक्षा देते हैं how to be cool, calm, collected, because I'm all the time on the go. So that's one thing. Rock steady and support the wind under my wings.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
And
2 more. 2 more.
yeah, and 2 more. 2 more is that he speaks so less that I get to talk so much. बात करे तो सुनेगा कौन?
Oh, nice.
And that when out of AFMC with not knowing anything about how to cook, doing nothing at all. जो भी बनती थी रोटी, we would say, नहीं नहीं ये मैप अभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया का है या ये इंडिया का है. He would tolerate all that and say everything is perfect. So I think that has been
This is
this thing.
beautiful, rare
I'm
love.
blessed,
Yes.
blessed to have a
Yes.
companion like you.
What's your day like? How do you spend time together? What all do you do together? What's your routine like? What do you do during the day, sir?
That query is for me or
Yeah,
her?
for you.
Both, yes. For both of you together.
Okay, I actually I am at home,
जी
and I involve myself in a fair number of things which are, it could extend to gardening, it could extend to going and staying with my grandson for a while when I get fed up of, you know, and then coming back and doing some other things which, I like to do for, I learn a few languages. Uh,
Yeah.
and I'm interested in yogasan. So all these things keep me
No, in
busy
fact, we do
in a
that.
sense,
Morning
together.
is always together, no?
Yeah. So that the day
The
starts
morning,
together on some
the
of
morning
these.
fitness regime, your
Yeah.
fitness regime. Yeah.
We are
So
very fond of it, both of us. So we go out every day. Morning sessions are quite regular, sometimes in the evening too. But I think a healthy and a fit body is
Yeah.
important to have a fit mind also.
first
Yes.
1 hour is always sort of the morning, either a walk or a trek or yoga at home. It's I mean, come what may, morning 1 hour is always that. After that, yes, he told what he does after I'm at work because I'm not there at home. But and since he's fond of gardening, I've requested him to help me because we have this beautiful campus which Kiranji's promised I'm going to invite her. We've had this thing, so he's really taken this on to, and you'd be very happy to what the project you've this whole campus has been with. He helps me develop that. So we've put in
Superb.
rainwater harvesting. We've developed a biodiversity lake. We've
Superb.
planted 5,000 trees all over, and it's sort of that is generally. And I think what we love most is morning we get to see the sunrise from one side, and evening we sit down. When I come back 6 o'clock, we're in our garden with a cup of tea watching the sunset.
How
So
wonderful. You're truly gifted.
yeah,
Divinely gifted.
yes
May this
yeah,
grace remain and remain.
is a blessing that I keep thanking God for.
yes
That's true.
yes ma'am he is
Truly.
truly is
I'm
sir.
delighted to hear the way you've done
Yeah,
it, growing together. Now
yes
growing together. Now you're growing the garden together. The garden,
Yes.
you
Yes, and you must come and have a look at it.
I will surely do that as
Yes,
soon as it's possible.
yes.
ma'am, ma'am, sir, we've got about just a few minutes. Would you share some life lessons with us? You both have seen so much of life.
Yes.
Would you share some life lessons with us, sir and ma'am? Some life lesson you can leave us with.
I think basically it all boils down to the values that we hold. We have to, at all times, we have dealt with people all our lives. And every time, we look around our nation as well, we see that wherever we take care of the people that we serve with, it comes back to you in so many ways that this is the way forward for our nation. I mean, if you look at the national way, some things that we have learned in the forge, a way of life, is the aspect of self-discipline, which I am very fond of, and I keep wherever people ask me what is the best thing that happened to you, is in the forces we become, discipline is there, but if that becomes into self-discipline, then everything comes from within you, everything driven from within, and then there's no limit as to how much time will you give, how much hard work will you put in, because you are into it. These are the things that we have. And then things like, uh, always one feels as to how are we succeeding in life. Everything depends on your personal competence. That competence gives you, the confidence. The confidence gives you the courage that you require to, work out of conviction. This is the way of life that we have adopted, and we become self-sufficient in the process. And one looks forward actually. If at the national level our political system can adopt these views and give it to our youth today, which is really burgeoning. And I think Madhuri probably must have said that uh, we are 60 to 70% youth today in the country. If this youth can be made self-driven, if it can be made to have self-pride, self-confidence, there is nothing stopping a nation to become the best in the world with our values intact. That's how I look at India today. Somebody asked me, what do you look forward to 2047? This is what I look for. So,
Outstanding.
just a few
Outstanding.
words.
Thank you.
Outstanding.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. Ma'am, some few words from you.
Yeah, just my this thing is that I mean, you have to find, each one has to find his or her own ikigai. You know, that book which you may have read it, and that is when you start thinking beyond yourself, that your profession, your vocation, your passion, everything is aligned, but it reaches out and touches the lives of others. That's when you find an inner joy and peace. And once you found that, there's no stopping. Then the sky is the limit. If your feet are grounded, you can go to any height with full energy, zest, and nothing to stop you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Finest.
Ji, thank you so
Finest
much.
indeed. Indeed.
Ji,
Thank you
Looking
so
forward
much.
to meeting you in your university.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
going to send you my book. Saina, would you
Yes.
like the demonstrative learnings? Send a book gift to General.
sure. Ji, ji,
Yeah.
ji.
Thank you so much.
You
I've
will
Look
read
love
forward.
it.
your autobiography, your biography. I've read that book. This
Thank
one
you.
I would love to read. And I mean, we will invite you specially. But if you're coming this side, I'll coordinate with, so that because time is, I can understand the thing.
I
So if you're
understand.
coming towards Pune, Bombay,
Yes.
do let me know. And I'd love to fit in so that we have you over.
So grateful. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
What an
Jai
Sir,
honor
Hind.
being with you.
yes. Sir, a very, very special thank you to you. A
This
very,
is
very
the first time,
Is
special,
and Saina managed to get him there.
a very,
this was
very,
one of my this thing
ji,
that
sir.
decided that I will not go on to a public forum ever after retirement, but you have made me break that. Okay.
Ishmael's Kripa, I feel so blessed talking to you. Sir, ma'am, he's he's God sent. He's
Yes.
Yes.
God sent in your he's
Thank you
God
very
They
sent.
much
got
for your
sent for each
message.
other. They got
We
sent for each other.
look forward to meeting you sometime.
Yes. I
And
live
Saina
in
is
Pune.
also now.
I
So
Great.
live
we
in
must
Pune.
catch up.
Yes.
Oh,
We
then
must
Yes.
catch up.
yeah.
Ji,
Yes.
ji. You
Wonderful.
both, Ma bless you both with complete togetherness for eternity. For
Thank you.
eternity. You
Jai
Thank
Hind.
both
you. And
are made for each other, and Ma bless you. Ma
thank
bless
you.
you with this love and togetherness for eternity and eternity and eternity.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
So
Thank you.
Thank you
grateful.
for this love.
Thank you.
Ji, ji, ji. Ma'am, we'll conclude now. जी, जी,
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
जी.
Thank you.
Thank you.
हमारी ऑडियंसेस का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आज आप हमारे साथ जुड़े and you've shared a beautiful life journey. You've shared a beautiful life journey.
Very beautiful.
Life is filled with infinite moments. Each moment matters. It all adds up to create that wholesome life. So give that importance to each moment of your life. Give it that importance. आपको अगले महीने मिलेंगे अब हमारी अतिथि होंगी अमीश त्रिपाठी जी आपको 20 नवंबर को अब मिलते हैं जय धारी माँ आप सब स्वस्थ रहें खुश रहें अच्छे रहिए अच्छे रहिए
Excellent.
थैंक यू
Thank you.
जी जय धारी माँ जय धारी
Jai Madhuri.